All right, we are live, and we are live worldwide right now, Jason. I mean, we are on 5 or 6 different platforms at once. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, Twitch, which my son had to tell me what Twitch was.
I don't even know what that is.
LinkedIn, Periscope. So hopefully you guys are out there. This is the first show, Arena Football with Andrew Haines. I've been involved in arena football, indoor football for most of my adult life. Met Jason, back in the day, in those early days. So we've known each other for a while.
Maybe 2004?
4, yeah, yep, 4 and 5.
Yeah.
But we got, on any platform, if you're on there, feel free to throw comments up, questions that you have for myself or for Jason. We'll try to get to some of those throughout the show. But, let's see what this, happens with the show here. I kind of wanted to see the interest, see if there's people interested in checking out more information about arena football, people behind the scenes, people out in front like yourself. But I thought I have a pretty cool guest today.
Who is he?
I don't know if he's going to make it. I don't know if he's going to make it. But for right now, I have you. So
okay, well, good.
Thanks for joining me, Jason. We got Jason Gibson. He's the head coach, director of football operations, and also co-owner, right?
As long as I don't have to write checks.
That is the only way I want to do it anymore.
I'm an owner when I don't have to write checks. And I tell people I'm an owner, they think I got money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's where you got to be careful. If it's a vendor, you're just a coach. If it's,
Are you writing a check or are you giving a check? If you're giving a check, I'm the owner.
The one thing that I kind of want to get into and learn from you is, you have been in one market for like almost your entire coaching career. And, the team has been there and there's been some shuffle with leagues and things like that. But, there's been a constant in Columbus, Georgia. And, I was there. We talked about it a little bit before the show, myself and Brian Schwelling, back when I was president of the AIFL. We came down and started the first team down there after the AF2 had left. So we know the market. It's a great market. And, I'd love to kind of hear from you, kind of your journey. I know you played, some, but I don't really know that complete journey. So if you can kind of tell us where you're from and a little bit of your playing and then into coaching background.
Wow. The short version?
We could go as late as you want, but I'm old, so it's getting close to my bedtime.
I'm old. We found VHS tapes on my highlight films, and my kids said, "What is that?" Okay, that's old. No, I played in Maryland, grew up in Calvert County, Maryland, went to Calvert High School. Shout out to all my Calvert High School alum that unfortunately I never talked to. Played in Maryland, went to Fairmont State. I got really lucky. I just got really lucky, and it taught me an early lesson in life about coaching, and it's about who you know. But I was really blessed to have a good coach at Fairmont, a guy named Doug Sams, and he had some CFL connections. That's really what it came down to. And he had come from the CFL into Fairmont State, which was a D2 school, and went up there. And my freshman year, I just held extra points. I was actually the number 2 quarterback on the roster as a freshman. So I was liking my chances. I'm thinking, okay, the guy in front of me is a senior. This is okay. I wasted a whole year of eligibility holding extra points, but I thought I was cool. Though. I'm not going to lie. I was like, look at me. I'm a freshman playing. So that was fun. But then my sophomore year, they brought in probably one of the best quarterbacks in the state of West Virginia, a kid named Jared Ferguson. And Jared was good. Jared was really good. And that kind of sealed my fate. I knew I'd never take another snap at quarterback, especially with him being younger than me. So I could run. I read defenses, and the coach said, why don't you move the receiver? And it was either move the receiver and play or, sit the bench. So
or get out.
Do what?
I said, or get out.
Yeah, or get out, or move a transfer. So, I made that jump to receiver and I had some success. And then, I love telling the story of these kids. In my senior year, I decided to go to Myrtle Beach. My summer of my senior football season. And my coach was livid. He's, what are you doing going down there? And, and blah, 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 blah. And I said, no, you don't get it. I'm going to go down. And I had read a bunch of books back then before all this core training and all the speed training. And all these things that these kids have access to back then. I had an old school coach named holy cow, Coach Moore, Frank Moore. And Frank had bragged that when he was playing football in the 70s, you know how coaches are. That he
we
ran,
didn't even take a water break.
Yeah, he ran on the beach in Maryland. You know, we live on Chesapeake Bay. He said he ran in the sand. It made him faster. And so we didn't have all those speed tools back then. So I told my coach, I said, I'm going to go to Myrtle Beach and I'm going to run on the beach every morning and get my speed faster. He was livid. I mean, livid. But I did. That's what I did. I went to Myrtle Beach and I worked at a restaurant as a busboy. And every morning, man, 6 a.m., I'd get out there and I'd run in that sand. I'd run all my drills and all my routes in sand. And it ain't gonna lie to you, it worked. It worked. And so I went back to Fairmont and had a really good senior year. And at the time, and then many people don't remember this, but the CFL was in America. They had American teams. They had, I think, the Baltimore Stallions or the Baltimore something.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Forget which one it is, but.
They had a Baltimore team. They had a San Antonio team. They had a Birmingham team. And the San Antonio team, my coach was a CFL coach, and that was my in. You know, I went to his office, and I just said, hey, if you don't think I can play, tell me now so I can move on. I don't want to be that kid. Hey, you know how kids are. And he said, no, you can play. And so he made a call, and who was it? San Antonio signed me. And I was so excited, man. I thought I had arrived. And then sometime in February, the CFL cancels all the American teams. And so all the players on the teams got dispersed amongst the current CFL teams. So I just went from a rookie on San Antonio to a nobody that's on the back burner because the CFL teams took all the veterans first. And so I never stepped foot on the field. Never stepped foot on the field. And so that was a little discouraging. And then my roommate at the time had been in the NFL, played for the BC Lions. This was in 1996, maybe 95. I don't remember. And he kept on the coach. Hey, I got this guy at Fairmont. You got to look at him. Well, they wound up signing me and brought me out to Vancouver. And I went out to BC and I was on the practice squad for maybe a month. It was great, man. It was great. It was so much fun. First class. And I thought I'd made it again. But then back then, don't laugh. You know, there wasn't internet, so you couldn't do your schoolwork online. I had literally carried all my books with me on the plane, and my professor allowed me to do my classwork. Oh my God, and mail it back. So wow. I did that, but then it got to be about late November. You know, BC wasn't in the playoffs. I went to the ownership. I said, "Look, I need to graduate. I'm on my last semester of my scholarship, and I need to graduate." And so. If I leave, are you going to sign me? Yes, we're going to sign you. So I left, went back to Fairmont to get my degree so I could walk in December. And then they got a new coach in January. They traded me to Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan in March traded me to Hamilton. Hamilton put me on the neg list, never brought me to camp. I never stepped foot back from Canada.
You almost made every roster at some point, or every
roster without ever touching the field. And so I went to a tryout. I went to a tryout in Chicago about NFL con, but back then the NFL ran a whole bunch of tryouts.
Scout camps.
Yeah. I went to one I remember going to one in Massillon, Ohio, right next to Canton, which I'm sure we'll talk about. Andrew, there was 350 dudes there. I ran 240s in a matter of 8 hours.
Wow.
And then at the end of 8 hours, all right, thank you guys, we'll call you. I'm like, holy cow. You know how those tryouts go. So I have so much respect for guys when they go to tryouts. And I vow that I will always make sure they get a legitimate look. You know, but so then I went to a workout. This is weird. I went to a workout, another scout camp in Chicago. I had no money. I remember all I had enough money for, no lie, was to eat French fries. I walked. I'd never been to Chicago before. It was brutally cold. 3 miles from Red Roof to a Hardee's. I had about $3 to my name. Because I spent it on the plane ticket. I mean, I had nothing. All I had to eat that night was fries and some water from the hotel. And took a taxi to the tryout because I had enough money for that. I get there. We're doing the bench. And I had a pretty good bench. And I remember this. It was funny. I repped it like 20 times. I racked it. And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Look, if I don't run a 4.3, you're not going to sign me anyway." So it doesn't matter. And he kind of laughed at me. He said, "Yeah, right." So this guy came to me and shuffled me a business card. He was an agent, and he said, "Hey, I'm looking for players to play in Europe." And I went, I ain't doing that. I'm a CFL guy. I'm Mr. Everything. At least I thought it was in my own mind. And so I blew it off. And I was like, I'm too good for that. And if I don't play in the CFL, I'm not playing. You can't pay me enough and all this crap. And about 3 years later, man, I'm selling insurance in West Virginia door to door. And I'd hit about rock bottom as far as jobs, tryouts. I mean, there was just no other avenue. I'm probably 20. I mean, I don't remember how old I was then, maybe 26. And I had to move home. I was broke, had no money. I called my dad. I'm like, I'm coming home. And I go back home and I'm working construction, man, swinging a hammer, working in Washington, D.C. with my dad on a construction site. And then I started unpacking my bags and I found that guy's business card for Europe.
Europe wasn't that bad then, huh?
So I called him. This was no lie. This was on a Thursday. I called him and I was on a plane on the following Tuesday to Europe and went played in the GFL for 2 years.
Wow.
And it was crazy, man. Got back out. And when I got out of that, there was this new league called Arena Football 2. No one had ever heard of it. We were like, what is this?
Yeah.
It was a tryout in Greensboro, North Carolina. And I met the late Clayton Banner there, because Ed Hotchkiss is a big time arena guy. Ed Hotchkiss, Brent Winters, those were all guys that coached me at Fairmont. Well, they had gotten into the Arena League. And so they were holding a tryout. And I went to Greensboro, made the team, and had a good season. Clayton wanted to get me back to Toronto. I signed with Toronto. I went to Toronto for training camp. Didn't make it, got cut. Came back to Greensboro, played in Greensboro again. Then I went to Wilkes-Barre Scranton with Dean Coquinos and those guys. Came back to Greensboro. And that was it. Team folded. Ran out of money.
Was Tuffer your coach in Greensboro at all?
No, we never. Well, yeah, the last 4 games because Gary took over the job when I signed with the CFL.
Gotcha.
So I had signed like maybe December. Gary got the job in January, and he begged me to play. That was a huge mistake. He told me if I should play to get in football shape and then go straight from arena to CFL. And I said, no.
That's a coach just trying to get a guy right there.
Well, yeah, but he was right. Listen, so I said, no. I don't want to get hurt. This is my shot. Blah, blah, blah. So I trained my butt off. And, hey, there's Brian, man. Yeah. My guy, Brian. Why did you have to start that team in Columbus? No. So I didn't. I trained. Man, a week before I went to camp, I pulled my groin. Brutal. So I go up to Toronto. We go to camp. They have 12 wide receivers, right? 12 rookies. We're all up there, me and some other guys, and about 12 of us. And we got there on a Thursday. They made final cuts Sunday night. They kept 2 of us, this dude from Wyoming and me. I'm like, dude, I've arrived. I did it. All the way back to, I went all the way back to BC back in 96, and here we are in 2004, 2003, almost 9 years later, and I did it. So I'm like, I made it. I called home, and guess what? I made it. We show up for the meeting Monday morning, and in walks the 8 veterans. I hadn't realized it was just rookie camp. So they walk in 8 veterans, and I'm doing the math. They only keep 4 wide receivers that are American, or at the time, maybe 5. And I was not in the top 5. And I knew it. We go to the preseason game. I scored the only touchdown. We were at the Skydome, which they're tearing down, by the way. And we're at the Skydome. I scored the only touchdown. I look over at John Jenkins, who's the offensive coordinator. Everybody's high-fiving me. And I'm like, again, I'm thinking, I scored. I did it. I'm in. I look over the coordinator, and he's going like this.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, they're going to cut me tomorrow. And sure enough, they did. They cut me and sent me home.
When you were going through like that, like, what made you kind of just keep pushing? Because, I mean, it would have been real easy to just kind of pack it in and, tryout after tryout, or you're getting signed, traded around, not getting on the – like, how do you mentally – keep pushing?
I mean, I told somebody the other day, man, I love the grind. That's the one thing I miss as an old turd. I miss the grind and the discipline and the regiment of working out for a goal as far as what I could do. But I put a lot of time in, and I'd had success at Fairmont, which I didn't, at the time was like, okay, that's a good level of football, but it's not the best. And so then we went to when I went to BC, I had some success at the practice squad. I mean, I had success at practice. Like, I could play with these guys. And so when I got let go in Vancouver, or when I never got back, that's what drove me those years of that huge gap. There was a huge gap between 96 and 2003 or 4 or 2 or whatever it was. And I just knew I could do it. And when I went to Europe, I had a lot of success. And I had put in too much time training day in and day out and day in and day out to not get to where I wanted to get to. It really was never proving it to nobody else. I wasn't trying to prove my high school counselor wrong. I wasn't trying to impress a girl. I wasn't trying to prove, nobody wrong. I knew I could play. And when I never got a chance back in Vancouver, I think that was the driving force. And so, as odd as it sounds, when I played that season in arena with Clayton and Ben Bennett and all those guys in Greensboro, when I went to Canada and I scored that touchdown, even I knew they were going to cut me. It was weird. It was a weight off my shoulders. It was some good word. It was closure. And as much as I hate to say it, that season in Toronto, it was so business. You really felt the business of professional football. And then it turned me off, and I didn't enjoy playing anymore. So they cut me. I wasn't mad. I'd accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. I knew I could do it, and I could live with myself. And then, but to be honest, when I went back and played arena football, I don't think I've ever had as much fun in my life playing football as I did playing arena football.
It's such a great game.
It's probably some of the best times playing that I've ever had. And so it was good closure for me. And that was the driving force probably.
So how did you transition from, being a player to that first coaching opportunity? Was that first coaching opportunity was it in Raleigh, or was there something before that?
No, I was the offense coordinator in Greensboro. Everybody knows about arena football. Stephen Jerry, good coach, came into Greensboro after Stephen came into Greensboro after Gary left. We had a good team, and we had some crazy players. I mean, we had Titus, we had Thaddeus Bullard. Thaddeus was a good friend of mine. And people know who Thaddeus is. That's Titus O'Neil. He's WWE superstar.
He lives right down here in Tampa.
Yeah. So Titus played with us. He was a defensive end. We had Bobby Scipio. Bobby Scipio is probably one of the best athletes most people have never heard of. One of the greatest arena football
too, right?
Briefly.
Okay. I was going to say, I thought he played down in Florida somewhere.
Bobby played at Western Kentucky. He's from Kissimmee.
Okay.
And Bobby played at Western Kentucky and came to Greensboro, and they weren't playing him. And I remember him running into Stephen's office one day, or somebody says, if you don't play me, I'm leaving. So they had to play him. He gets in the game, has like 2 picks, 5 touchdowns. That was the last time I ever saw the field. And he was just that good. So, those who can't play coach, right? And so Stephen came to me. So he probably did me a favor, but at the time he was trying not to hurt my feelings. And, hey, why don't you be the offensive coordinator? Which was really just a title. He still called all the plays. But that was my first step, into arena coaching, just because I wasn't better than the guys that were on the field. They were just, time had gone by, and they were really good football players. And then the Raleigh Rebels thing came up. That was insane. Greg Ellis, my man Greg.
G-Dog.
Oh, Greg was great. We had those red jumpsuits and the Raleigh Rebels. Greg was gung-ho, and he poured
his Southern accent, man. He's just a nice guy.
You know what? To this day, I still get Facebook messages from that guy. Congratulations, good luck. That's what's great about arena football is the people you meet. He was a great dude. That was a very difficult. No home games. We practiced. This was my schedule. So at the time, I taught at Eastern Guilford High School, and I was a Spanish teacher, and I was a track coach, and I was the football coach, and I ran the weight room. So I would get up in the morning and teach all day, after school weight room. Then I would coach track, and then I would leave at 7:30ish maybe, and drive an hour and a half to Wake Forest, where we practiced in Raleigh. Because people don't know this, that's where the original Wake Forest was. So we would drive to Wake Forest City. We practiced from 9 to 11 at night. That's the only time we could get to that ice hockey facility. And then I'd get home at 1 o'clock in the morning and then get up and do it all again, man.
It's for the big bucks, though, man.
I don't know if
That big contract you had.
I don't think I got. Did I get? I have to ask Greg. He took care of me now. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But Greg poured his heart and soul and his money into that thing. I remember we had a trailer out back where we kept all the equipment. He had an 18-wheeler company, I think. Greg was in transportation.
Yep.
Yeah, and we kept all our equipment back there. It was actually pretty smart. It was a good idea. So.
Yeah. Well, you got a fan here too. So.
Look at that smoking hot chick.
You might know her, huh?
Oh my God. Well, that's a great story. I'll tell you, get into, man. I tell you, man. I met her at a Chattahoochee Valley Vipers game on a blind date with me and her mom. Or not me and her mom. Her mom set us up on a blind date.
Oh, wait a minute. What's going on here?
So now that's a story, right? Then her mom set us up on a blind date, man. That's the first day I saw her, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was done. I remember, you know how when you meet a girl and you get their number, you have to wait 48 hours or something.
Right. Yeah. What is that? I don't know. I've been married since I was 18, so I don't know. Like, what is it like?
You got to play a little hard to get. You got to wait, I think, 48 hours or 3 days or some kind of unspoken man code rule.
So how long did you wait?
I didn't. As soon as the game was over with, I called her as soon as she left the arena. I said, I'm not waiting 48 hours. Look,
Brian says, see you owing big.
Hey, man, I ain't going to lie to you. That meeting in Johnstown, was it the Nighthawks?
Riverhawks.
Riverhawks, sorry, Brian. I met Brian up there, and I thought, this guy's pretty cool. You guys put a team in Columbus, and I meet the girl of my dreams. And, yeah, Sarah said about 10 minutes. So it was cool. I called her that night, and I said, hey, can we go out tonight? I'm not waiting.
Nice. So that's good. So it's Chattahoochee
funny
Valley
story.
Vipers.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks to you and Brian.
No, but that's cool though. I mean, just like if you look back, I mean, I just look back at all the people that I've come in contact with and all the people that, have become friends and, you follow them and the relationships that you see, being built. So, it's definitely a cool thing to see. It was definitely that first year, I think, for you with the Rebels. I mean, the deck was stacked against you, and you did really well. And
that was hard. It was fun though, but I was green behind the ears at the time. I mean, I was better. I was better than the players that I had. I mean, I just got done playing. Literally, had just gotten back from Canada, and that was my first off season. And I remember telling players, I'm like, if I'm better than you, you're not playing here because I can't play anymore. And if I can't play anymore, I'll be damned if I'm going to put you on the field and be worse than me. But I still remember those guys, Garvin, Graves.
Yeah.
God, do you remember Garvin? He was a good football player.
Yeah.
And I think we had that quarterback from NC State. I can't remember his name.
There's so much talent in that area, but I mean, to not be able to really house anybody listen, I was, I think 25 when I started the league. So I didn't know what the hell I was doing either. And so I started every team. And then I think Schwelling might've been our first owner or second one. He might've been the first sucker. I don't know, but
we were talking, what great names. I mean, all the names, I love sitting around with my kids and my wife, like, what names really fit cities? Like, I love the Miami Heat. It's so relevant to Miami and the hot summer nights. But I thought the Canton Legends and the logo and the Erie Freeze were two of the best name combination that I'd ever seen. It was great. I don't know if you remember this. In Erie, they had a promotion with a hot tub company in the back end zone.
Esposito, man, he was nuts.
Esposito, and we scored a touchdown, and Garvin Graves, because they had girls up there in bikinis. Garvin Graves ran up and jumped in that hot tub, full uniform.
Are you serious?
Was insane.
That is fun. Where did Graves play college at? Did he go to
California, Pennsylvania?
Yeah. Okay. So he played then for me a couple years later with Pittsburgh.
Yes.
The River Rats.
Yeah, Garvin was great. Garvin had that deep voice like this. Garvin talked real deep like that.
Great guy though, too. Great guy.
Heck of a player, man. He was a good football player. So that was good.
It got you experience, out there as a head coach though, and then that's why you got hired down in Columbus, right? I mean, people knew you within the league. I know Brian and I kind of got things started in Columbus. Got it sold. and then there was some ownership in there. But how did you get into that position there?
Into
Columbus.
Like to Columbus or to where it is now?
Both. Yeah. Tell us about the story of your trip to Columbus.
I was standing on the practice field in no lie, Gibsonville, North Carolina, at the high school. Not lying to you. Easton Guilford's in Gibsonville, North Carolina. So I was coming off the practice field, man, and you know how parents are in high school football. Across the country, not just there. So don't take offense, but everywhere. And it was one of those days, man. I'm walking off the field, and we're out there, and I just got done with parents. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And Jeff Gahn has called me, said there's a job opening in Columbus for an arena football team. And I said, I'm telling you to get the job. And I just looked around where I was at that time of my life and everything. And I'm like, this isn't my life. This isn't my goal. And I left really probably the next week. And I told you, I got in the car and my GPS was going off because I thought it was Columbus, Ohio. I'd never been to Georgia.
That's awesome.
So I even remember driving down. I rented a car. I get to Atlanta, big city lights, Atlanta. You drive through 85. If you've never been to Atlanta at nighttime, you're like, wow. I didn't realize how north Atlanta was in Georgia. So I get to Atlanta and I'm looking around for Columbus. Okay, where's the exit? Where's the exit? And I saw a sign that said Columbus, like 100 miles. I'm like, where the heck am I going? So I get in like really, really, really late. And ironically, this is really scary. I missed the term. So Columbus is on the river of Phoenix City and Columbus. It's a bi-city. And the Chattahoochee River is the border for Alabama, Georgia. Well, the Columbus exit is the last exit before you cross into Alabama, right? I missed the exit. I get off on Somerville Road, Alabama. I remember seeing a sign that said Sweet Home, Alabama. I'm like, holy cow, I'm lost. I get off Somerville Road at 40th Street and had to make a U-turn to come back into Columbus. As this story progresses and I talk down the road, when I go to pick my wife up on the very first date, she lives on 40th Street on that Somerville Road exit. So I actually got up on the exit where I currently live right now.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy cow, how ironic is that? So I drove down, met Steve and Dwayne. They were young kids, like all of us were at the time, a little wet behind the ears. I think I was older than everybody. And they were a little wet behind the ears, but it was just an opportunity. I figured, the pay was horrendous. It was horrendous. And that's why I have, on a serious note, I have zero tolerance for people that's walking and stacking this kind of money right now without putting in the work,
Well, I mean, you made a lot of sacrifices to get to where you're at. And not only has the team been successful there, I mean, you've been the guy from day one, and that just doesn't happen at any professional level, let alone arena. I mean, most teams don't make it 10 years,
Well, we
coached there more than that.
We got lucky. I mean, we ran the first year team. It was not successful. You know that, and I know that. Had ownership problems. Those guys didn't know what they were doing. At the end of the day, I met Zach McDonald, the Daytona Beach Thunder.
Yeah, good old Zach.
No, not Thunder.
Yeah, Daytona Beach Thunder.
Or Warbirds or no.
They changed their name, but I think they started as the Thunder.
So
they might have changed it to Thunderbirds.
Yeah, Zach owned the Daytona team.
Yeah, Daytona Beach there.
So the next year is when we started. I spent that summer. I remember this. Dwayne and Roddy were out of the money. Team's folding. He put the team up for sale. I remember he had the team up for sale for $75,000. I'm like, Roddy, we lost a bunch of money. What are you selling? He's like, I'm selling the turf. That turf's coming with it. I said, Roddy, the Civic Center owns the turf. I said, the arena owns the turf. You don't own it. Well, you wouldn't have to buy turf if you bought this team, so I'm adding that to the value. So they were trying to sell the team. Almost had a buyer too here in Columbus. So at the meantime, I'm packing my bags, man. My wife's going to kill me if I say this. But I'm packing my bags. She almost pretty much dumped me for for whatever reasons. But, and so she's going to get mad. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going back to North Carolina. I'm out of here. Luckily, the best thing of all worked out for her. That really kept me here. Thank God for her and me being a good sales guy, talking her into sticking with me. So she decided to stick with me. And I said, I'm going to make this team work. So I called Zach McDonald and I said, look, they're trying to sell this team. They were behind 3 payments on their arena lease. So the arena put them in what's it, like void or
canceled their deal.
Default. So the arena put them in default. And so they were trying to sell the team. I came up here with Zach McDonald. He came up here, and I remember sitting in the lobby of the arena. He walked in, plopped down the money. We signed the lease. He said, what do you want to call the team? We came up with a name. And then Roddy never sold the team. And he said, you guys can't play there. You can't have the team here. I said, yeah, we can, because you don't have the lease for the arena. We do. You can keep the Chattahoochee Valley Vipers. They're yours. And that's how it went down. So funny name with the word Lions. We didn't know what to call the team. We sat around. We were going to call it, we were researching the city. Of course, they had the Columbus War Dogs, and we were trying to figure out, what do we call it? Because the Cottonmouths were huge hockey. That's where we came up with
the hockey,
with the Vipers. But so we were like, what do we call it? Do we call it the Rangers? No, we don't want to isolate it just to Fort Benning. We call it the Textiles. All the things that Columbus is famous for, which is a lot of history, man. I mean, there's a lot of things in Columbus that people don't. Home to Coca-Cola, home to Aflac, TSIS, all these major companies, and so we didn't know what to do. So somebody said, how about bringing the pride back? We're gonna put a team here that's gonna bring the pride back. And somebody said, yeah, but there was a women's softball team called the Columbus Pride. We're like, ew, we don't want to call it that.
That's like it's so hard sometimes to come up with like
names. Name. At the end of the day, we came up with the word Lions for 2 reasons. One, the arena's seats were blue, and I wanted the team name to look like the arena was built for us. And the second thing is we were trying to work around pride, animals. Where I said, you know what? We just got frustrated and got tired of talking. Just name them the Lions, and we'll go blue and silver. It'll match the seats in the arena, and it'll look like a home place. I said, okay, done, and that's what we did. I mean, it doesn't really fit. There's no Lions in Columbus.
I always like hearing how people come up with the names. That's pretty cool.
As like, hey, I don't want to be a women's softball team here in Columbus, Georgia. And everything was, I think it was now they got the River Dragons, and they had the Cottonmouths and the Vipers. I'm like, all these snakes. And I've lived here 15 years. I think I've seen maybe 1 or 2 snakes. So I don't know. I don't swim in the Chattahoochee River either. You're probably drowned.
I'm not messing with those snakes. Hell no.
But everything was dragons and snakes. Oh my, who knows? I was like, let's just go with wings or something. Had it all over again. Would I name it something else? I don't know, maybe. But it was short. It was easy branding. It was good colors for the arena. It matched. Then there you go. I mean, the Utah Jazz. The word Jazz has nothing to do with Utah. That was originally the New Orleans Jazz. So whatever.
So. How about, throughout that time? So 2006, basically, you were coaching with the Vipers. Then in 7, you guys switch over to the Lions. On the field, how did you guys do? Throughout that time. Were you guys? That
was the first year of the WIFL. We went to the championship. We had the best team in the league, and we lost in the championship game to Augusta.
Yeah, that was a hell of a season.
By the way, great name. It was the Augusta Spartans. No. The first year, didn't the Rome team win it? The Rome Renegades? Rome won the year in your league, the Chattahoochee Valley Vipers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Rome lost to Canton in 2006.
Yeah, so 2007 with the Lions, it was Lions, Osceola Ghost Riders. It was Augusta Spartans. It was Daytona Beach. It was only 4 of us. And we played everybody like 4 times.
Oh, okay.
But we lost to Augusta, and we had beaten Augusta all year long, man. I tell you, I'm cursed. It's funny. I lost 2 championship games and 2 conference finals off of center quarterback exchange, or a pick on the last drive going in to score. So we lost to Augusta. I remember it was 62-60. We had the ball on the 15-yard line. Joey Conrad was my quarterback. And it was 62-60 third down. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a shot. If not, I'm going to kick it. We had the best kicker in the league. And I'm going to take a shot in the end zone. And God dang it, we threw a pick, man. All we had, threw a pick. I'm like, I'm cursed. So Augusta won the game. They had good players, though. It was fun. I think Bubba was the coach. Bubba Diggs. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, Bubba Diggs. Bubba Diggs. No, that was there was some good play. I think the challenge has been I don't know. I love the game of arena. I love indoor. Like I love it.
I'm sorry.
I'm thinking
about Augusta. We went and watched Augusta. We had a bye week. We went and watched Augusta. They had a halftime show, and all the cheerleaders were out there in these gypsy outfits. It was like a 20-minute halftime dance. And so I think of you're bringing back all these memories, and I'm thinking of it was like a circus act, man. It was insane.
That's the challenge now is I think it's too focused on football, and obviously it's arena football, so it should be somewhat right. But I think a lot of people are losing, the concept of it's still a business, and you have to market. You have to create a demand. People aren't just going to show up, and with technology and with every other option that we have, it's harder to sell tickets now than ever. At every level. You look at the NFL, you look at NBA, there's still
look at people at stoplights that can't for 3 seconds at a stoplight driving their car not get on their phone on Facebook or Twitter.
Yeah.
That's how short our attention. Hey, I'm guilty.
I've been on my phone while we've been doing this show. So
see how boring I am? That's what I've been trying to tell everybody.
Yeah. But I think you got to have that good marriage between business and football. And I think just from talking to you even more recently, it's like you get it from the business standpoint. You're a coach, but you're also business. And a lot of times the coaches are all about, the product, and it's the product, which is good. They need to be, but you need to have that good combination. I think you have that there in Columbus, which is why I think one of the reasons why you've been able to have that longevity there is you get it.
But I got to tell you right now, if without Kiki Seda, Skip Seda, John Hargrove, Keith,
those guys are related to me, right?
Yeah,
Skip.
Yeah. Duke and Jan Libatori. Those guys, these people put their life savings, they put their life savings into this team to keep it afloat. And there's a lot of years we lost money, and they kept it going because they believed in the product, and more importantly, in our community. And they know they believed in me. It's the biggest compliment I ever have. And to be honest with you, I had offers every year, man. I could have went coach in Tampa one year. I could have went coach other teams, and I never left. I never left because I believe in the loyalty, and I believe in what those guys did for me. Just unbelievable people in our community. And that Rick Jacobson now, and then the ownership has transitioned into Josh Blair and Mike Hall and Newsmith and Dr. Jay Patel. And again, what that does is it's the people in Columbus. I just can't say enough about them. I don't know if the market's that great. If I get in trouble for it, it is what the attendance doesn't lie. The numbers don't lie. But there's good businesses in town, and there's good people that live in this area. That's what's kept me here. It's the people. And that's why I feel an obligation to stay here. And I felt like we've built a pretty good machine. We've had some ups and downs, but for the most part, we've won games. We've always tried to put on a professional product and have good players here. But at the end of the day, it's been I always say this, it's a giant wave that we've built. And I tell you what, man, I don't know how to surf, Sarah, if you're watching, because you didn't let me take those surfing lessons when we went to Hawaii. And I'm never going to let you do that. But I'm going to ride this wave, man, until it hits the shore all the way. I ride or die. I ride or die with my owners. I ride or die with this community. I hope they feel the same way about me. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe they say it to my face, but
nah, they definitely do, man. I mean, it's
just a good spot, man. And I'm so lucky to be here 15 years and to still be able to wear this stuff, you know.
Yeah, you don't have to change polos all the time. You know, you don't have to cover your tattoo up. You know,
the players are like, Coach, where you get all that gear from? I'm like, dude, I've been there 15 years. I mean, my whole closet looks like a Smurf. You know,
when did we get Nike? What are you talking about?
I mean, if I got anything, it's got a Lions logo on it. Holy cow. And but it's fun though, you know. I mean, I really don't have anything other in my closet than Lions gear and now the high school gear that I wear at Glenwood. It's orange and green, or it's blue and black. So, or blue.
So like, can you, like, when you go out, are people like, oh, there's, you know, Jason Gibson, the coach of the team?
Oh yeah, they say that because they know I'm going to ask them for sponsorship, so they run. There's Jason Gibson. Is he going to ask us for sponsorship? So no, yeah, I mean, you know, it's like anybody else in Columbus. It's a small town. You know, we try to do whatever, but you know, just like Boom Boom from hockey, everybody knows Boom Boom, and everybody knows, you know, Bear O'Brien, and it goes like that. I tell you what I get the most of. I was at Publix, and I get this a lot, but I just shaved my beard, so it's not as bad as it was. But you know, I had to look good for the Andrew Haines show.
Yeah, of course, come on. I didn't shave.
Yeah, but I was at the Publix, and I'm sitting there getting you know, whatever food stuff, and then there's these two high school kids at the register, and they're going. I'm sitting there. I'm like, yeah. And the kid goes, excuse me, sir, but are you? And I went, yeah, I'm the coach for the Lions. They said, no, are you Jason Statham?
I don't know if that's a compliment or a dig.
Well, because we're both bald and have a beard. And I said, do I get a discount on my groceries? They're like, no. I said, no, I'm not him. So, but I get that all the time. I get that more in Columbus than more so the Lions coach. But
so what's kind of on the horizons for the Lions? Are you guys, you know, doing anything different going into next season? Are you, you know, any new plans from, you know, the business side outside of?
Well, me and you have talked off camera a lot lately, and it's been fun because you got the same passion I do. I think this is an extremely vital year for the Lions. This is our 15th season, and I think that we have to do a total rebranding of. We do a good job with the fan experience. I mean, we've done some things in the past, man, that I think no other arenas can match. I mean, granted, with the, you know, you got your Albanys and your Jacksonville's, which is a great atmosphere. I love playing there, and now Orlando's and stuff. But we've done some cool things. We've got a great fan base in Columbus, and for a while there, it was hard to win. It was hard to win in Columbus, but I think we got to do a rebranding with our fan experience. We have to do something that when people come to the game, which they do. No one's ever left an arena game, in my opinion, and said, I want my money back. That was terrible. Most people say, damn, I didn't know they were playing.
Yeah.
You know the feeling. You've been there. But I just want to see us rebrand. I want to see us – we hired somebody from the Atlanta Hawks that handles game day operations and game day fan experiences, and he's really, really good. And I want to get back and focus on the experience. I mean, I tell you – we had a conversation one day in an owners meeting. We just won the championship. I can't remember. Maybe it was 2010 or 2015. And I asked the owners, I said, would you guys rather go 16-0, win a championship and lose 75 to 100,000, or go, 8-8 and make 50? He goes, I'll take 4-7 and make 100.
I always say that too. That's how I am until you get into the season. And then I get in ultra competitive mode, and then it's like, okay, then I need to go find this player. I need to do this or that.
But you got to make it entertaining. I mean, that's what I tell players. And I got players come out, hey, I need you to pay me this. I need you to pay me that. I'm like, look in the stands. I got this from somebody else. I stole this from somebody else. I said, look in the stands and see how many people are here. That's how many people value your skill set right now. And then that's a ugly way to say it. Okay. Yeah. But people go watch NFL games not because they want to see football. They want to see Tom Brady, man. They want to see Lamar Jackson. You know, if you got a game and the New York Jets are coming to play the Falcons, ain't nobody gonna go to that game. You know?
Nope.
That's the game to give the tickets away. But that's what we have to do in Columbus. And I have to rebrand that and figure out a great fan experience. And you've got some great ideas that I can't wait. We're going to employ in these podcasts are getting the word out there. And I think fans have so much access now with social media and so much access with technology. We have to entertain them. And the football game itself is not enough.
I think the good thing about all the technology now is you can engage and entertain year round now.
Yeah.
And even if your players aren't in market, there's opportunities for stuff like this. I'm in Orlando, you're up in Columbus. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that can be done. And, I think, as we were talking about, is trying to make it more of year round content. Obviously the games are when they are, but there is so much opportunity out there now with everyone.
What happens is, just like we're doing on the show now, obviously, I think I'm boring, but
there's two people watching. Your wife and Brian Schwelling.
Yeah. And so, but the thing about it is as you look at it, as you start telling stories of people, you sat here and we had, conversations of, you and Canton, and people don't know about that, and the history of everybody. That's why people watch and I'm guilty of it with my wife. That's why people watch all these home shows and non-actors, because you get an insight of who they are personally, and all of a sudden you feel like
the real.
Maybe there's something that I said or something that you said that forms a connection with somebody. People feel like they start to know you. When they start to know you, they want to hear what you have to say and what you're going to do next. And we want to be able to. I think what you're doing right now is great. It builds storylines of who our players are, who our league is. Like you said, nobody knew how the Lions got their name.
I did.
It's cool stuff. Nobody knew that I stayed in Columbus because of my wife. I would have left in a heartbeat. She's so hot. I was like, I'm not leaving this Alabama chick behind. And it's just amazing how your whole storyline changes because of those stories. And so it's going to be interesting as the NAL season progresses, stories about Albany and the history, or players, or, you start learning things and people get the back story. And that's what, the hard knocks are popular. People want to see behind the scenes stuff. People want to see, all those documentaries. And so I'm just thankful you're doing the show. I hate that you had to start off with my boring butt, but it's fun and it's laid back, and it's not so, I do a coach's show that you got to prim and proper and wear the suit and you got to do all that.
This definitely, we want it to be laid back. You and I, we're just talking. We got war stories, right? Let's
share those. War stories, man.
We got. I have enough stories to write a book, a couple books. Some of the stuff I probably can't publish, but a lot we can, and that's what's cool about this. And I'm excited.
How many times in the years you've been doing this? How many times have you gotten a phone call on a Wednesday or Thursday from somebody saying, "Hey, we're not playing," and we're scrambling trying to find a team? Or, oh, wow.
It's so frustrating, and I'll be honest though, I take part of the blame for indoor football kind of going down. And I do, because when I was league president, I was aggressively expanding. And my thought process was, I'll start the team. I know how to, I feel like I'm a good startup. I can get things started up, get it going, get the marketing going, get the cash coming, and then find a buyer. Well, that concept is good if I have a lot of money as a backup, which I don't, or I can find the proper ownership. And so what happened, back then was, that second year we went from 6 teams, 2 of which were travel teams, to 16 teams. And we were from New York to Florida.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
I think I probably started half those teams. And when you have a team struggle, I ended up putting personal money in to try to save it, like behind the scenes. People don't see it, but it's like you try to do that, and then before you know it, you just pissed away a few $100,000, and then you still look bad. And it's like, that's what happened in Raleigh. We took it over as the league. In 60 days, we dropped over 100,000 like that, and it definitely drains you. But had we had more funded ownership, and not to take away from guys like, some of the guys that were in that field, because they were good people, they just, like me, went in over our head. The way that you guys have the structure in Columbus is exactly what, like Michael Taylor, Michael from the Tarpons and stuff, and Richmond back in the day.
I've always stuck with budget. He knew, if I'm not mistaken, from the outsider, but having a conversation with Michael, he knew what his limitations were. And for the most part, I don't think he ever really stepped outside of them. And when it got to the point where it was going to be more than what he could do, hey, I'm done. I'm not doing it. And, I respect Michael for that. So,
yeah, no. And we always talk about, like, what you guys have is, a nice sized group. So it's not a burden for one person, as a single owner. You have a single owner and you lose $100,000. It hurts. If you have 10 people or 5 people, okay, I can lose 10 to 25 grand a year and not die, Well,
so I think, looking back on it, God, this is really cool that we're bringing these back up. But looking back on what you started back in 2006, there's so many guys that need a shot. And the product on the field is not the players. Or then it was not the players.
Yeah.
I think it was the product itself. And if we had, God, what I'd love to still – if we had done it right to where the Canton Legends were still playing, all of a sudden now you've got that such solid fan base. The problem is, I think everybody wants to say they're the best league or the best team.
Yeah.
But you can go aside. Who cares? The only thing that really matters is how much money you make. And, I remember this, and you'll laugh. Every year somebody says, oh, I got a TV deal. I got a TV deal. You ain't got a TV deal.
Right. I mean, how much is it going to cost me?
Yeah. And it's like you said, you look back to when we were so young, if we could start all over again and slowly scale it up each year and then work on the fan experiences and really share those ideas. We may be going back a little bit right now to try to get back to that. That's what I think we're doing in Columbus right now. We're cutting our budget back and we're focusing on our fans and focusing on, like you said, a good product, a professional product, but you can't spend NFL type money. It's just crazy.
No.
You can't spend NFL type money.
I think that, now is a great opportunity though, for like yourself or me, people who have been in it most of our adult lives. We've seen it all. I mean, there's not much that would shock me anymore in this business, but we could take that knowledge now and try to help the others and build it back up. I mean, when we first started, the players made $300 a game, and we had 2 guys making $500 a game. I know Raleigh was probably a little different that first year, but I mean, that was more than AF2 at the time, and it's more than a lot of the leagues are now. And I think it's just taking that hit. So I think if we can get people thinking, more creatively, marketing, obviously you want to get the best talent you can. There's a lot of great talent out there. But be within your means and spend, you got to have some front office. You got to market, you got to get creative, to build it up. But it's such a great product. In all my years, I cannot remember someone telling me that they had a bad time.
It's weird. It's like if I have a weekend off or a bye week and there's a college game here or there, I'm just going to stay home and watch it, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm just not really into going to watch another outdoor game for the most part. But I remember when we had bye weeks and there was a team in Albany, like what I think the Albany Panthers or whatever. I just, as a fan, I'm like, hey, I want to go watch the game tonight. We drove an hour and a half, watched the game, and drove an hour and a half back. I just enjoyed going to an arena game as a fan. I really do. And there's not a bad seat in the house. And so this isn't a promo for arena football for the one person watching or 2 people watching, but it's just so much fun. It's just different.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think so. What do you've been in a couple different leagues out there, throughout the years. What is it about the NAL, that you like? And there's the boss.
Yeah.
And, what kind of separates the NAL from, any of the other leagues out there right now?
Oh man, everybody's gonna bash what I'm gonna say, but the league doesn't dictate how good the league is. The teams dictate how good the league is. I think the mistake that I've seen in leagues over the years is the leagues try to succeed. They drain the teams for money, and then the teams fold. And if you don't have any teams, there's no league. You got to have teams. And so I think what the NAL does a good job of is they have good ownership, and the owners have each other's backs. I thought that was two things I've noticed really well. NAL does that, and the PIFL had the 4 years with the PIFL was really good. They had really good owners. I remember Jeff Knight, Frazier, our ownership group at the time. They were all in it together, and that's what the NAL does. Is one product better than another? If you're sitting there saying that, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm talking about the CIF, I'm talking about the IFL, I'm talking about the NAL. Don't sit there and tell me your product's better than our product. Do the fans know? The fans don't know. Don't tell me. The only people that really know the difference, that really care or sit there and try to brag about it, are the dudes that sit in their basement in pajamas on their mom's computer. Okay, they don't even buy tickets anyway. All these little, all these social media guys that sit around and know everything because they heard something and they want to be an insider and all that stuff. And that's fun. It's good for the sport, and I get it. But at the end of the day, what makes good leagues is the ownership groups and how they interact with each other. If you got owners out there trying to stab each other in the back, it's not going to last. If you got owners out there, sitting in a meeting talking about, I'm not doing this and I'm doing that, but you turn around and you're paying guys, $1,000, $1,500 a game just to win, you're not doing anybody favors. And at the end of the day, and this, all these teams that overpay, they always fold in the end. San Jose,
let's win and shut down. I've seen that happen. I don't know how many times, because they're just that's all they care about is winning, and then everything else gets neglected. Who wants to win a championship in front of 500 fans? You want that arena packed. You want that atmosphere.
The simplest way I put it is this, and I tell, if we all put ourselves back in high school and it's Friday after school and you're like, where's everybody going? I'm not going to go to the party with 5 people. I'm going to go to the party that's packed, that all my friends are at. That's where I want to go. And the Albany Panthers did that for a while. They had a great atmosphere down there in South Georgia because I remember talking to one of the guys. We'd go there, it'd be 4,000, 5,000 people packed in that arena. And I remember talking to one of the guys there. He said, it's the thing to do. It's the party. It wasn't necessarily the football, which is what me and you talk about. It was the atmosphere and the party. And I'm going because that's where everybody else is going. Not necessarily, oh my gosh, did you see that pogo route? They ran out of trips on 3rd down. They don't care.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
they don't. Most people don't know any of that anyway.
Yeah. So how do I create the best? How do I create? So if we got a 14-game schedule, 7 home games. How do I create the 7 best block parties that Columbus can throw? I don't have the answer, because if I did, we'd be even more successful. But I'm trying to learn the answer, and I'm willing to find out. And I think when you look at different leagues, back to your question, you look at an Arizona Rattlers. Is the IFL great because they're playing IFL rules? No, Arizona's got a great fan base and they do a great job. That's why Arizona's going to be great no matter what league they're in, because of the attendance and the fan base. Same thing with Jacksonville. And as you look across teams across the country that have a great, exciting product, they
create that demand.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and so I loved Raleigh's setup. I really wish the team. I loved Arena. I just did. I thought it had a mystique about it.
It did. With the glass, it has those glass walls
and the no AC, and I loved it, man. I really did, and I hate that there's not a team there, but I think there's certain places that you got to build that mystique. We had it for a while there in Columbus. We lost it over the last 2 or 3 years. We bumped up to the NAL, and for a little bit of time there, the NAL tried to kind of maybe take over what the AFL was doing on a lower scale, and it cost us, man. It cost us dearly.
I think a big difference too is from when I was league president, I actually owned the league as well, which is kind of, people don't like that. But, and what you said earlier is true, is the league was making money. obviously we were sinking it into, teams that were hurting, but like we had the revenue, the teams didn't, and it was kind of backwards. And, with the NAL, from what I understand, is the owners are more involved in that as far as, when a new team comes on, it wouldn't be Andrew Haines saying, yeah, they're in. It's your executive committee or your league,
yeah,
right?
the owners all pitch in, and plus, we got a small staff. I mean, Chris Siegfried's as commissioner does a great job, but as far as the other duties, the accounting or expansion or whoever, I'm not going to get into who does all what. All the owners step up and pitch in. And there's not an owner in our league that you can't pick up the phone right now and call and have a legitimate, honest conversation. And I've had them with all of them. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, do you need help here? What do you kind of send you? I mean, I just enjoy being in business with those guys. Could we have joined another league or try to merge and do all this other crazy stuff just to say what? We got 30 teams. What does that do? Really?
But like you said, no, the fans, at the end of the day, the fans don't care. They want a good event when they come out. They want the games to be good. They don't want to. Right. They don't want to be playing these. The thing that I'm frustrated to see is a lot of these like non-league games, which I used to be in favor of, but just kind of cheapens the product a little bit, because no matter how good they say they're going to be, they're never at the same level, and you get those blowouts. But what do you think? This is coming from Nicole. What do you think are going to be the big differences between the AFL and the NAL? Obviously budgets, I think, are more owner friendly in the NAL from an outsider, but what differences do you have there?
On the field, there's not. To be honest with you, from a player standpoint, the last season of the AFL, I think it was last year, before they folded, they had 88 NAL players on their roster.
Out of 4 teams.
Yeah, 88. I remember. I mean, all these guys have played in AF and played NAL players, and they were all good players. And so my thing is, let's take player A that played in the NAL for $300 or $250 or whatever. And all of a sudden the next year he's in the AFL making $1,500. Now I'm all for that. I think players don't make enough, and I'll be the first one to tell you. I want them to support their families, and I'd love to pay them so much that they would love to come to Columbus every year. But so the player that's making $300 in the NAL in 2018, 2019 goes to the AFL, and he's making $1,500. He's the same player. He isn't all of a sudden that much better. I thought the difference was the NAL is scaling it back. You still have a good product on the field. I thought the AFL obviously has a bigger budget to market the teams and put on a more professional product overall. But also I thought it was kind of wasteful. So
definitely in a lot of areas.
I think the major difference could be maybe the size of the arenas. One of the expenses is, you look at the size of a Columbus arena, seats 8,000 versus an Amway seats 50,000. And, you look at AFL teams with Philly and Cleveland, and those guys playing those massive arenas. That's kind of maybe the difference. And the size of staff, you look at slot staff, we're maybe 4 or 5 in the front office. And then we got a ton of interns, got great game day operations help, and a lot of people in the community that want to be involved. You look at an AFL staff, they got a head of marketing, head of groups, head of tickets, head of this, head of that, head of internet, head of this. And, it's just a lot going on. But obviously, she's had some experience with other teams. So that at the AF2 level, you got to have people that can really multitask. I'd love to get it back up to where it was, but until there's more money coming in, you can't just rely on tickets and sponsorships. Until there's more money coming in, you can't expand those staffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think you utilize the technology that you have now and then maximize and build. And, I think a lot of the places too, I don't know how the climate is there, but I think it's fairly good throughout the whole season. But, starting to do tailgate parties, and I'm sure you guys already probably do, tailgate parties and stuff like that.
No, I mean, we got a great tailgating group. We'd like to get it bigger, but I know Albany had a lot of success. I've heard a lot of great stories about the Empire with their pregame parties outside the arena.
They're very huge. Yeah.
Yeah, huge. I'm really interested in learning more about doing that and creating those atmospheres. I know our new arena director, Robert Landers, was the game day operations guy for the St. Louis Battle Wings in the XFL. And they had a really, really good thing there. So, I think getting that part, it cannot be drive up in the parking lot, get out of your car, walk in, give them the ticket, go sit in your seat, get a Coke and watch football and go home, man. That is not enough. And I remember going to a Georgia Force game before they folded at Phillips. And from the time we got out of the car, Andrew, to the time we got in our seat, I was getting bombarded with information. I remember the dance team standing. As soon as you walked in the door, dance teams passing out pocket schedules, passing out programs, people selling merchandise and activities and inflatables and Frisbees. I mean, good God, it was a circus, man. But that was 10 years ago, and I still remember that. And my kids loved it. I remember driving up. There was inflatables outside, and my kids went nuts. They thought they were at the carnival. And, I'm not trying to turn into a carnival, but with the shortest attention span of people nowadays and so many things to do, what can I do to entertain our fans from the second they get out of the car? And I don't have all the answers at all. But I enjoy learning it. And me and you get to talk about it all the time.
Yeah, and I think that's cool too. Is just having the teams collaborate. What's find out from Albany. What are they doing that they're drawing several thousand fans to their the block party? Basically, they shut the street down.
Yeah.
So I think with the soccer league that I was in and some of the others, that collaboration is what really can help drive that to the next level.
I mean, we've got Casey Smith. Casey Smith came on as an owner with the Lions. Yep. And I think, and now we've talked before, and I'm going to talk with him later again next week, but they did some good things with the Georgia Rampage on game day, at a lower level budget, but I still thought it was some good things. And there's some rule changes. Like I enjoy, and I'm looking forward to league meetings, but I enjoy the XFL rule. I enjoy the 1, 2, 3 rule. On an extra point, you can go for 1, go for 2, or go for 3.
Yeah.
It's just more exciting. One of the best games I ever went to was in Rome, Georgia, against Richmond. Rome was down 10 points with 8 seconds left in the game. No, sorry. Richmond was down 10 points with 8 seconds left. Any other sport, you're already in the car in the parking lot going home.
You're done. Yeah.
Richmond scored, went for 2. Richmond scored, went for 2. No, I'm sorry. They were down 11. Is that 11? No, they were down 10. Sorry. They went for 2, scored, got the 8 points, and on the kickoff, they kicked the deuce. Tied it with no time on the clock. Went into overtime, lost a coin toss. He kicked the deuce in overtime. They won by 2.
Wow.
Craziest thing I've ever seen. And
but that's what's cool about the game.
And those are some things
You're never out.
Our league do some crazy things like that just to enhance the product a little bit.
We did some of that too in the X League a little bit with the dash, the X dash.
Didn't you have the points worth more in the last minute of the game?
Yeah, we had a red ball that came in. It was good. I lost in the championship game, kind of like you. We're at home in St. Louis, huge crowd. It was awesome. We're down, we're up, we're down. Fourth quarter, we stop them on 4th down. We get the ball back with like a minute left or less. We get down inside the 10. Run play. We put a DB in there to run a sweep. Fumbles it on the goal line with 37 seconds left, and then they ran it back. And we had to move the champagne from locker room to locker room like 3 times. But that's the the fans. They had a great time. I want to ask you a couple quick things because I see so many teams doing them. Tryouts. How many tryouts do you typically do per season?
I don't know, maybe 3 or 4, something like that.
And because you kind of talked about it earlier about how you really want to make sure that you give these guys a legit look, because there's some organizations out there that just do tryouts. Like they're not even playing for 2 or 3 years, but they're doing tryouts now. And it's good to see a coach like, look, how many guys have you gotten from tryouts over the years, do you think? A guy or 2 a season?
I mean, a lot. I mean, hell, Damian Daniels, he's the best damn football player I've ever seen in arena football. So, I picked him up in a tryout first year here with the Vipers, and I just signed a kid from Youngstown State. I mean, he was pretty good. He was pretty good. Lately, the tryouts, Clayton Banner ran some great tryouts. I got to give Clayton credit, and of course, Clayton passed, but Clayton was great finding talent, and he was really good. I mean, we'd have some tryouts, man. There were some top tier players there. Holy cow! The last couple tryouts. Here's the deal, man. You never want to tell somebody's dream, you never want to tell somebody they can't do it. And being in all those tryouts as a player and I've been in tryouts with 350 people as a player and sitting around all day long and things like that. So I'll probably have one or two more, try to keep them private. I don't try to go over 50 or 60 because then you can't get a look. There's nothing worse than taking ID reps or one-on-one reps and you get 2 the whole day. And you pay your money and then you don't get a look. One thing that we've done that I took from Clayton that I do now is, we of course we charge guys for tryouts, but if you make the team, we refund that money on their first game check.
Nice. That's cool. I've never heard anybody do that before. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, when they make the squad and they make it through camp and that first game check, I refund their money. So we add it back to their check, when I just signed a kid out of Ohio, Darian Townsend. Wide receiver, which I typically don't sign a lot of wide receivers at training camps. And but he was just really, really, really good, and so we signed him. I'm excited about him, excited about him coming in. So it just depends on, how you do it, how you do your tryouts, and are you really doing it for money makers or are you really doing it for legit? So I enjoy giving guys an opportunity because you just never know. But also I ain't going out there for free. I ain't going out there for free because then you'd have 300 dudes out there.
Yeah.
So
no, I think that's big. So tell me this. So when I come to Columbus, what is the restaurant we're going to? Like, what is the spot in Columbus? Where are you going to take a guess when they come in from out of town?
I wish I could take it to my good buddy John Gilbert at Golden Corral, man. I ain't gonna lie, I love that place.
Golden Corral. Come on, man. I ain't going to Golden Corral.
Doesn't matter, man. You got to support people that support you, but no, there's
well, they got the chocolate. They got the chocolate fountain thing, though. Don't they?
There's just so many good restaurants. There's a lot. There's a lot of good chefs in town. I mean,
is Columbus a good barbecue? A good barbecue area?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's so many good. I don't want to step on anybody, but I love Mike and Ned's. I love Smoke'ems. Chester's just got great barbecue down on Victory Drive.
Josh has Goldberg's. What's that?
Oh, Mama Goldberg's. Holy cow. Yeah, Mama Goldberg's is good, man. It started out in Auburn. They got a place in Columbus. Mama's is good. They got a place called Ma Bella's, but I can't afford that place. That's a one-time-a-year thing for me.
Come on, man.
That's really good.
They don't comp you?
Oh, no. Anybody going to comp? No.
Come on, man.
No, that place is outstanding.
Sarah wants you to take her there this weekend, man.
I wish I could, man. Their steak is so good. You can just put the knife and it just cuts through. You don't even have to do anything. So,
what is your favorite arena to play on, like on the road? Like, what arena do you really look forward to going to?
In history or now?
Let's do both.
Jacksonville. They do a great job. You got to give them credit. Orlando was actually pretty good. That last game of the season, you got to give them credit. They were awful. They were like 2-13 or something.
Yeah.
It was loud. It was great. The fans are involved.
Crazy fans there.
They do, man. Just really enjoyed that. That was good. Definitely Jacksonville. I enjoyed that. In all of time, of all the arenas, whew, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. I'm trying to think of them all. God, I don't even know. Jacksonville stands. Albany Panthers had some great fans. Their fans were ruly too, so they were fun. It was always fun to kind of go there. I did enjoy it. I tell you what. I know right now. God, I don't know how I didn't think about this. Monterey. That was one of the greatest experiences.
They had some good turnout, right?
There's 20,000 people there, man. Ole, 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 ole. I mean, they were going nuts, man, hollering Spanish. And It was phenomenal. It was a great game. The fans were great. The music, I felt like I was at a techno party, Andrew. I mean, they had music there, and it was like the whole game. They were screaming and hollering. I mean, and that facility was beautiful. Arena in Monterey, man.
They had a soccer team there too. We used to go play.
I'll never forget that. Never forget that. That was great. God, what a great time. I'd say them of all time, that one in Jacksonville probably.
Well, I could tell you, Michael Taylor was telling me one time when he came up to your place, and he's like, man, these fans are just you have some passionate fans there too that just get on the visiting team. So yeah. I forget what they're called, but he was telling me, he was like, man, they were relentless the whole game.
It was good, man. It was good. Good people, good times.
That's what I love about like the road. Like I love going in there, and I love people to know that you're with the other team, and you get all that stuff, going. And after the game is usually, everybody wants to chat, and it's really cool. But I'm looking forward to kind of getting back out there. In the near future, man. Well, all right. So we went through the arenas. That you won't tell me the best food place there.
No, I mean there's just too many, man. So many people. I mean, Barbella's, Black Cow, Mikada's.
Just go to the website.
Yeah, it's just there's so many good restaurants. Mike and Ned's, Pine Mountain, man. My buddy Whistling Pig. Holy cow! What am I thinking? I'm really mad at myself right now. He's one of the first guys I met when I came here. Eddie Moore is such a first class guy. They're up there in Pine Mountain, up in Harris County, and great people, great food. That could be the best barbecue, man. I forgot about my buddy Eddie. So
I don't know any of these places, but
I definitely will take. I like Samurai downtown, El Vaquero, Sapo's, my guys over there. Alejandro was with El Vaquero and those places. We had some great post game parties at that place. Holy cow!
So tell me more about your family too. I saw you had a little one come in your arms there. One kid? Three.
Four, she'd let me.
You guys been busy in Columbus, man.
I can't have 4 kids, man. I'll be like 68 walking across the stage with my daughter. It'd be embarrassing. I'd be like that old dude.
Like, hey, your grandpa's here.
That's your granddaddy? No, that's my dad. I don't even embarrass people. So
how old are the kids?
11, 9, and Sarah's gonna get mad at me. Maybe 12. 11, 9, and 5.
Nice. So the cool thing is though, they're at the age where they, they can enjoy it. They come out. Do they like going to the games?
Oh yeah, when the schedule came out, they get to pick which road trips, and they split them up. I got a chance. I was really lucky last year. I got a chance. Jet got to go with me to New York and fly to New York. He'd never been on a plane, never been to New York City, and I got to go up there and play there, and you got to get in a cab and go in the subway. We went to the Empire State Building, all that stuff. So we get to do that, and then of course Gunner went with me to Maine. We got to go to Portland, and get some bisque and lobster and all that stuff. So they get to split the games up and who gets to go where, and they, to kind of do that. So that's fun. And I've always enjoyed that. And, my father-in-law is one of my biggest fans, and Jerome, and he's like my traveling partner, man. And he goes to every game with me. So that was always fun. So yeah, they get into it. They love it as soon as they hear we got Lions tryouts or practice at Garrett Harrison Stadium, they are like, can we go? Can we go?
No, I was looking back, like Facebook's got those memories things. And, my kids, I got started young. I'm 42. First kid was at 18. She's 23. So she's out on her own in Tampa. And then, my son, who basically just has been in it his whole life. He's turned 17 this month, and he's like, 6 foot, almost 6'1", just going to be a monster. But you look back at the memories that people don't really, see that side of it, but just like the family time and the time you get to spend with your kids on those trips, those kids are going to remember that stuff forever.
Yeah. I mean, I talked with Casey, why were you going to come on board and get part of the ownership group? And he said, when he owned the Rampage, his kids were too young to enjoy it.
Yep.
And I'm excited for him to be able to come down and let his kids get involved. And, Gunner gets to bring his kids. or not bring his kids. Jeez, you better not have kids. Bring his friends and things like that, and they get to share it. And so I've been really lucky to be able to be here and share it because there's so many football coaches, and even Chris Siegfried will tell you, you got to give kudos to him and how strong his family is. But, some of these guys are, gypsy coaches, and they're gone 6-7 months out of the year across the country. And then they come back home and that's their lifestyle for 20 years. And that's hard on a family structure. And I've been really lucky. My kids get to enjoy it and I get to enjoy them. And so for me, chasing the dollar or chasing other jobs or whatever people may perceive, which I don't really care, doesn't outweigh the fact that I get to drop my kids off at school every day. I get to come home and play Fortnite, which is what I'm going to do when I get off this thing.
Play Fortnite? We got to play sometime, man.
I'm terrible. That's
I am.
Hey,
I'm
my
the best.
oldest son's really good. He's got like hundreds and hundreds of victories. I've got like 3. And so when I ask him to play, he's like, "Oh, all right." It's like a chore.
No, I'm called the old head. They call me old head.
I'm so bad. I can't build. I can't build the walls.
Dude, I can't either. Dude, I cannot believe this. I've met somebody else that sucks as bad as me. Here's what I do, honestly. When I first when the bus is going, I don't parachute out until it makes me. And then as soon as I do, I put my parachute up. Okay. And then by the time I hit the ground, half the people are dead.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
And then I hide. And then I typically, I am probably 30% at least in the top 5 finishes.
My kids hate when I do that because they're like, that's boring. So, no, but I get to play with my kids, man. They get to go to tryouts. We get to watch football,
That's what it's about, man. I mean, I think
on Mondays and Thursdays and watch football and we fall asleep on the couch. That's a big deal. And so it may not seem like a lot right now to maybe to them and all, but I don't get those memories if I'm coaching, coaching here or coaching there, chasing all. It's just not a big deal. I've never had the desire to be a football gypsy and have 15 different jobs on my resume. It just doesn't matter.
And it wears you out. I mean, I did it but I moved my family every time because I didn't want to have that, separation. And it was rough on them. I mean, they made a lot of sacrifices for me, especially Leah, the fact that she hasn't murdered me already or, left is amazing. We got married at 18, so been married 23 years. So, and she worked in it. So, but no, I mean, I think it's such a great game. It's such a great thing overall with the relationships. And as I get older, I appreciate all those things more. So I'm in a stage now where I want to help. I want to help people. I want to help people without expecting anything back in return. And
I mean, I don't know. I mean, so much going on. It's just, it's fun that the Lions can allow people to be able to share things. I mean, it's not always done right. We don't always do things right. Trust me, but you do the best you can and people get to share it and have fun with it. And it gives them something to do. It gives them a chance to kind of break away. And there's just been a lot of really great people over the years that you've met and you're thankful for those relationships. And, and so, it's just fun. It's just fun.
Last thing. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm good.
I was going to say, last thing to just, end with is just think about the memories that you have helped create for thousands of people, not just in Columbus, but everywhere that we've all played and
right.
Competed. And you've been in there for, 15 years. Well, think about this. Some of those kids now are probably starting to get into their 20s, maybe even, somebody who was a teenager is now got their own family and they remember when they went as a kid, to the Lions games. You're going to start seeing that, people remember that and they want to experience those things with their kids now.
Yep. Cause now we're old.
You're old. I'm still young.
Right.
Man.
I mean, there's kids. We had an NFL. We have a youth flag league, or we had a tackle league way back in the day too. And we wound up at the high school I was at. we wound up picking up some kids that actually played in that youth league, and they wound up coming through the high school, and they turned out to be, so it's just fun to see the cycle and watch it go all up. So you're thankful for that, and I'm excited. So, but yeah, I got to get going. I gotta go watch. Everybody's waiting on me because I got to go watch The Masked Singer. I'm not going to lie. So,
all right, guys. Well, listen. Comment. Let us know what you think. This was the first show. If you guys like it, we'll keep coming back. But Jason, thanks for BSing with me here for the last hour and a half. It was really cool to hear.
I know it went a little long, man, but God,
some good
Andrew,
stuff. We
think all the way back to when we started. So,
yep. All right, man. Well, we'll talk soon.
Man.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, man.